Are we really talking about the Eagles drafting a wide receiver in the first round 3 years in a row? 3 years in a row drafting a wide receiver in the first round. You know what this means, right? Jalen Regular is done. Dallas still stinks. You're right the way, King Dingbat here, and I gotta ask you guys this. Are we really talking about drafting a wide receiver in the first round for the third straight year in a row? The third straight year. Do you realize the only other team that has done this is the Detroit Lions? Is it ever good to be compared to the Lions about anything? I mean, the Lions stink. They lose all the time. I don't like the idea of being compared to anything the Detroit Lions do. But in this case, the Eagles might have to do it. Now, we're going to get into it in a second. But before we start, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe for Eagles daily content, all sorts of crazy stuff, NFL related, even some basketball related. We get crazy, okay? So you don't want to miss it. We're getting close to 39,000. Going to try to get to 40,000, close to when the draft ends. And if you've been subscribed for a while, just double check, double moonwalk check that you're still subscribed, because YouTube unsubscribing people don't know why they're doing it, but it is what it is. Now, this baffles me, man, because we are sitting here this offseason right now, less than 2 weeks away from the draft, and it looks like the Eagles are going to have to go out and draft another wide receiver, possibly in the first round. If not in the first round, first 2 rounds for sure, but possibly in the first round. And unlike a lot of other drafts, this draft is all over the place. Like, there is no consensus top 5. There's no consensus top 3 wide receivers or top wide receiver. A lot of people think Drake London is the top wide receiver in this draft. To me, a lot of times I can tell by the name. Drake London. Drake London doesn't sound like a football player to me. I'm just saying. It sounds like a Canadian rapper. You know what I mean? You listen to Drake London out of Toronto. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about him. You know what I mean? I know he's got some talent. I know he's big. I don't know if he's fast enough. But we're going to find out. Some people think he's the best guy. Me personally, I think if Jameson Williams was not injured, he would be the consensus number 1 wide receiver in this draft. And he still could be the number 1 receiver off the board, even with his injury. You would think he would fall back. But it looks like the Eagles are possibly going to have to draft a wide receiver in the first round again. And me personally, I've said this all along, I wouldn't have gone this route. Not first priority. My thing would be to bring in a free agent wide receiver and, basically build on that. And I still think you got a guy like DK Metcalf out there, you guy that you should definitely try to trade for, even one of those first round picks if you have to. Get somebody established, okay? You have guys like Terry McLaurin, which, he's in Washington. There's no possibility, but he's holding out. He's skipping, like off-season stuff right now. So is Deebo Samuel. So is A.J. Brown. And we don't know how far they're going to push it at this point, but if they become available for trade, especially during the draft, I would do it. But it doesn't look like the Eagles are going to go that way. It looks like they are going to draft a wide receiver fairly early, okay? Now, what receivers are they interested in? That is the question. I would say my 2 probably favorite wide receivers in this draft are Jameson Williams and then Garrett Wilson. I really like both guys, but there's a lot of receivers to like in this draft. If we kind of look at who the Eagles have brought in for visits, we kind of get maybe an idea of who they like, unless they're throwing some smoke screens out, which is always possible. But, I mean, if we're just going to base it on what we've seen here, right, we know that the Eagles brought in Chris Olave, I always say his name wrong, Olave, wide receiver Jameson Williams, wide receiver George Pickens, and then let's see. I think that's it, right? I think that's it. That's all they brought in. So Pickens, Williams, Olive, and I'm trying to think if there was another wide receiver or not. I think that might have been all the wide receivers. I don't think they brought in Wilson. I don't think they brought in Treylon Burks. That doesn't mean they still can't before the whole thing is over. And it doesn't mean they can't not like those guys. We know for a fact that they didn't even speak to Andre Dillard before they drafted him. So you never know. I mean, they could bring Olive in because they really like Garrett Wilson. I would guess if I'm looking at this correctly, I think Jameis Williams is a guy they would consider in the first round. And Chris Olive if they trade back, maybe to the late first round if he's still there. But I think that George Pickens bringing him in is very interesting. Because if you wanted to go like in the second round, there's a possibility you could get him in the second round. And I would hope, in my personal opinion, I would hope that the Eagles would look to one of these receivers in the second round. But they may feel that they don't have a choice. They may feel that they literally have to get a wide receiver. And if they do take a wide receiver in the first round, like let's say they take Chris Olive at 18, right? Let's just say they take him at 18. This is the end of Jalen Reagor. I mean, there's no way you can go forward with wanting to keep Jalen Reagor on this team because you're not going to have 3 contracts come up with wide receivers, giving them all an extension. There's no reason to even pick up, Jalen Reagor's contract extension, in another year or so. So you might as well trade him. You might as well look to move him. Now the question is what can you get for a Jalen Reagor? Could you get enough if you put him with a draft pick maybe to get up a few spots, something like that? Maybe. I don't think he's going to give you a lot of value. I mean, maybe you get a team who looks at him and says, hey, he's very talented. If we go out and we try to, we bring him in, we can fix him. Maybe they feel like, there's a team that feels like that and they give you a little more. But you're not going to get like a 3rd round pick. You're not getting a 2nd round pick. You're not a 4th round pick. You're not getting any of those. You're going to get a late pick or maybe, helps you go up a couple spots. But a wide receiver in the first round is the end of Jalen Reagor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It would spell the end. The question is do the Eagles want to do that this quickly? That is going to be the question. I would not be surprised if you see the Eagles look to get a wide receiver in the second. And I think Pickens, if Pickens is available, okay, I really like Pickens a lot. And if he is at all available, especially in the second round, even if I have to trade up in the second, I would consider George Pickens very much so as a trade up candidate to get up higher in the second round. I think if you're picking 15 and Jameson Williams is there, I don't mind taking him. But you also still got to address defense first. See, I look at this and I say, if you're going to go after a receiver, you almost have to do it at 18. You have to do it at 18, and I can't see Jameson Williams making it to 18. I can't see Garrett Wilson being there at 18. I'm not even sure if Chris Olive will be there at 18. So a lot of these receivers could go off the board quick, and I think you're going to have to look into the second round for one of these guys. Or you're going to have to get lucky and take somebody at 15, and then, what are you going to do on defense? Because now you're going to pick 18. You're going to take a corner. I guess they could do something like a receiver and a corner, but three years in a row you're taking a wide receiver. To me, is not good. Not even to mention that. It's 4 years in a row you're taking a wide receiver in the top 2 rounds of the draft. Because remember, Arcega-Whiteside was drafted before Jalen Reagor was drafted. And really, the only guy that looks like he's going to pan out is Devontae Smith. And the other thing you have to worry about, especially with these, there's a lot of decent wide receivers looking like in this draft. Do you trust Howie Roseman to pick the right guy? I do not. I worry about that a lot. I think if it's like 15 and there's a bunch of wide receivers on the board, stick with the guy that goes to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? If he's on the board, Jameson Williams, and you want to take him, take him. But to me, it scares me. Stay out of USC wide receivers. I'm not a big Drake London guy. I could be totally wrong about him. And if I am, I'll eat it. But like I said, to me, it sounds like he's a Canadian rapper. But I honestly think there is a real possibility that the Eagles are going to take a wide receiver in the first round. I think more than not, though, I would guess that they take a wide receiver in the second round. I think the first round is going to go something like defensive line, defensive tackles primarily, and corner with the second pick. So 15 defensive line, 18 secondary, corner most likely. And then in the second round, I see possibly a wide receiver because I think there's some way the Eagles are going to wind up with 2 second-round picks. I believe that the Eagles want to make a play for David Ojabo, and I think that they're going to do that with a second. If they have to trade one of those thirds to come back into the second, I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to look to take a high flyer on Ojabo late in the second, and I see the Eagles trying to get themselves 2 second-round picks in this draft. So, what I think will happen is defensive tackle with their first pick in the first round. Their second pick in the first round, I think it's going to be a corner. The second round pick is going to be a wide receiver. Then they take a high flyer on Ojabo. But we have no idea. I mean, this team can always surprise you. They're always capable of something. I'm telling you right now. When I look at this list, right? And you start looking at all the guys that they brought in. I mean, there's guys that I really like on here. You know, I like Williams. I like Olave. I like Jaquan Brisker. I like Andrew Booth. But, you know, Kevon Thibodeau. I think Thibodeau and Sauce Gardner are guys they bring in because they look at them as potential trade-up guys. If they want to make a big move up in the first round, those are the 2 guys they would do it for. Kevon Thibodeau or Sauce Gardner. But I'm telling you, the one thing that I'm telling you that you gotta watch. You have to. Who's calling me? Stop calling me. I'm doing a video. But the one thing you have to watch is that the Eagles, out of all these guys that they brought in, there's a guy named Matt Corral, old Mississippi quarterback. And from what we hear, the Eagles think he's by far, hands down, the best quarterback in this draft. I don't think they would take him in the first round. It would not surprise me. But it's the one name that sticks out of all these visits that just seems out of place. It just seems like there's something to it. I don't know. I'm getting a weird feeling. Like, I think if Matt Corral falls to the second round, I think the Eagles are going to go up and get him. I really do. I think early second round, Matt Corral's there. Watch out, because I think the Eagles could go up and get him. We have no idea. This is how we vision, and we're all just living in it, and that's the truth. So, Eagles taking a wide receiver in the first round for 3 straight years. Only Detroit Lions have done it. It's kind of ridiculous, but it kind of could make a lot of sense for the Eagles, depending upon how this draft falls. And they shouldn't be scared to do it if the best player on the board at the time is a wide receiver. Then you do it. You got to do it. But I'm saying, watch out with these wide receivers and watch out for Matt Corral. Yeah, because I'm telling you, if he falls to the second round, like if he falls early second, I think the Eagles are going to make a trade up and get him. I just got this, and this is not, I have no inside info. I haven't heard, this is just a gut feeling because his name just sticks out to me like a sore thumb of their of their visits, you know, their pre-draft visits. Like, he's the only quarterback. It just sticks out like a sore thumb. So we'll see. With that said, let me know what you think in the comment section. Take care. Talk to you later. Of course, it is Don't Be a Dingbat, of course, and it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. So just a quick reminder for you guys that Tuesday, 4:30 Eastern, I will be on Big Sills, Dan Silio's channel. Go talk some Eagles. It's going to be interesting to see what he has to say. I will put a link in the description beforehand, probably on my community tab more likely. But look for that, and just want to let you guys know I will be on his show later today, so it should be interesting. With that said, Denzel Washington out.